thank you all for joining us for the second part of our conversation about the warm embrace, and as we dig deeper into the topic of comparison, set our focus on taking things to the next level.
Well, and the key to the Lou Reed story is he's looking in the mirror.
Yes,
That's the
yes,
key to the whole
yes,
thing. He's not looking
yes.
outside at Mick Jagger or at or at other rock stars. He is that dude.
Yeah,
He's 100% that guy. But as he courageously moves forward to do something that is unnatural, being a rock star is unnatural, and it's not who you are. It's not who anyone is. No one
yeah,
walks into a 7-Eleven as a rock star, and yet rock stars have to walk into 7-Elevens at
yeah.
some point. So that's the beauty of it, is
Yeah,
that those who are looking to exceed the normal bounds of what either their own saboteurs might be telling them or their own talk track might be telling them
yeah,
can leverage positive self-talk to be that bigger version of themselves they need to be when they're about to film a music video, when they're about to step on a stage and talk about a topic that they're like, oh man,
yeah,
there are people who have undergone significant objective growth experiences in their life who are better suited to talk on this topic. Are we the best facilitators in the world? We don't have 15
yeah,
facilitate, right? You can talk track yourself like that. And that's my point, is looking in the mirror
yeah,
and saying, I wish I was the warm embrace. I
yes.
am the warm embrace. You're talking to yourself. And that's what
Right.
Lou Reed's doing. And sometimes Lou Reed didn't feel that way. And that's why he had to look himself in the mirror and say that.
Yeah.
And
Well,
sometimes you don't get to choose.
You bring something up because when you were talking earlier, well, it was in this example of like, who am I? Right? He gets to this point and you start to go through this. I don't like even really feel that I'm clear about who I am. I mean, we know who we are, but if you were to really journal on it and write down the things that make you who you are, that's an exercise.
Mm.
I remember doing that a couple years ago because I was preparing for being a guest on some podcast, and they kind of go into this area, and it's like I was just kind of feeling unclear um, on that area. So it is something to really, even talking about the warm embrace, it's like you got to talk through it. You can't just say something and be like, oh, I'm this, that, or the other without really going through that process of either journaling or coaching through it or talking through it. So you're like, yeah, no. Now it kind of takes it from like up here to like deeper into the heart and makes it more of like a thing.
Yeah. What's what's coming up for me about that is that exercise of journaling, like who am I,
Mm-hmm.
can be
Sucks.
very yeah, it can be very enlightening, and it's very can be very dangerous as well, because
Right.
depending on the day, depending on the perspective, depending on your viewpoint, um, it can be very, very negative, very critical, and very focused on your origin story and on your trauma.
Yeah.
Everyone has trauma. And one thing I would say about that, and once again, Lou Reed had to be the guy in the mirror for 3 minutes during a rock video, and that's what he was trying to do. Not
Yeah.
not break down who he is overall as a person. but who he
Yeah.
needed to be for that performance, for that
Yeah.
interaction, for that
Yeah.
segment of
I
his
thought
life.
it was like he was wishing he was something else, but he was actually,
The dude, he was everything that dude needed to
he
be.
needed to be.
And he
Yes.
told himself that.
Yeah. That's why I was
And
like, I had a reaction to this. It was, I thought it was he was wanting to be somebody else, kind of that comparison trap. But yeah.
and so what I would ask when we're thinking about journaling or even thinking about who we are, who am I today?
Well, and
who
when
who
you
am I
are
now?
right.
Because we get to write that, and not that we're not that we get to rewrite who we are every day. Like, yeah, I just robbed a bank, but today I didn't rob a bank. That was yesterday me. I didn't do it.
Yeah.
And yet the way that we are today, who we are, is how we talk to ourselves in the mirror.
Yeah.
That's my
Well,
point. That's my point.
it's funny that we are talking about this. It always seems to be the case. We're talking about the things that are striking us in the moment. And um uh, we keep saying this is what's coming up for me. I mean, that really is like paying attention to what's coming up, because everything that you need is like coming up within you if you pay attention to it, which is another, superpower. I think that is easy for everybody to access if they just pay attention. But one of the things that I think that I can really fall into from a comparison, and it's this voice that comes up in my head, is I'm just a farm girl. Grew up on a farm. I'm just simple, like, and that's where I would get into trouble in a corporate setting. Like, who am I? I'm not, as intelligent, as succinct, at whatever, fill in the blank. And just this week, and I've seen it posted a number of times, and I love it. But it's an article that a business owner writes about interacting with a girl who's just getting out of high school and wanting to gain some work experience before she goes to college. And she goes in and asks about, is there something that I can fill out? Is there work available? And he says, yes, fill out this application. And it was like, well, I don't really have a whole lot of work experience. It wouldn't be that impressive. I'm just a farm kid. And the whole article goes through all of this about the work ethic and what it means to be raised on a farm and the responsibilities that come with that. And I just love it. And this woman that's in a group that we're working with, she just reposted it on LinkedIn, and I was like, I love this. And she also was just a farm girl. But I do think about that even with my son. He's in the process of writing this scholarship application. And when you go through and you look at everything, it's like all these, have you done this and this and this and this and this? And even when we're talking about who am I, right? You're writing your resume and you're like, I haven't done everything that that person's done, because all of a sudden what I do is I go and research different examples of templates and things. And then you start looking at those templates and I'm like, I don't have that. I don't have that.
Right, right, right,
I'm
right.
just blank. And that is where you really have to pay attention, be aware, put that aside. To your point, Chris, be in the right mindset to really start journaling on who am I. Or it's kind of right. It is really writing that bio resume about yourself, because we all have wonderful gifts, and we just have to figure out how we package them in a way. Getting back to the warm embrace, it's like a gift of mine is I can walk to the coffee room and I can hear stories of three different people and gather data in a very genuine way, that, like, that's just what I do. And so how do I put that gift into who I am and my resume, which actually is very helpful in what I'm doing since I'm coaching people and wanting them to feel trusted and that they have the space to come into this hour out of their day to just explore what is top of mind for them. So it brings up a lot for me that we're still working on for ourselves.
Mm.
I'm working on it, maybe not daily, but probably daily. But how do we help others too to help them realize they are enough
Mm.
and to let go of any comparison and to not get trapped in feeling like I just I don't have what it takes. That was a lot, but it brought up a lot for me, Chris.
Oh, it's, I mean, uh, I'm, I'm hearing you, and it's making me reflect once again about do versus be.
Yes.
And we're both working with this with our high school seniors, right? Well, what have you done? And
Ex-
and
yeah.
with this college admission process, looking for affirmation or confirmation from, from the college, the university, the admissions, decision making panel, that you've done enough and
Yeah.
now you are into our institution, and that will be verification of who you are,
Well,
and
this is
that
where
makes
this
me
is
crazy.
started, right? I don't mean to, but this is how the wiring starts is in that structure, right? Show
Yeah.
me that you're enough to make it into this college.
Well, and that will be the next do, as opposed to be like,
Right.
well, I've done these extracurricular activities, I've done these accomplishments academically, I've done these things.
Yeah.
Now I've done my admission, and I will do my enrollment, and I will finish my degree. Those are all the things I've done.
Yeah.
But who are you?
Yeah.
Who
Yeah.
are you? And that's where, and you and I have talked offline about this as well. Like, um, what I've always recognized as your superpower, whether we called it the warm embrace at the time or not, I don't think we did. It was several years ago. Was that all the people who had done and had sort of gotten in their positions by being done? Well, I've done all of this, and so that equals this. You know, um, recognized your strong B, and we're like,
Yeah.
oh well, we can't compete with that. Let's just let's just keep racking up the duns as opposed to the B's. And I do give you a lot of credit for
Yeah.
um, being more and more comfortable with that as you go, because even
Yeah.
at the outset of our conversation today, you were like, hey, these are two of my superpowers. And I wonder if there were some of our listeners and watchers who were like, whoa, love yourself, like, oh, that's good for you, God, good for you. But that's a process of being able to say, like, actually, this is one of the things I be, this is one of the things I am,
Yeah.
not do, but these are one of the things I am,
Yeah.
because it's a very important part to not falling victim to comparison with others, or comparison to the farm girl.
Yeah. It is the So it is an exercise that we both would say is a really good one to do, because if you're just doing the resume or the bio, to your point, that's just about what you do. There's nothing on there in the traditional resume writing that talks about like the soft side, which isn't really even the soft side, but you know what I mean, the being. And so to have you should always have that up to date. But then to go and find the right time, get in the right headspace to just write about who am I. And it's helpful to reach out to others, like people that you really trust, to say, hey, would you take some time to help me with this? And I have a template that I've used where it's just a couple questions that I say, like, what is it that you think is my superpower? Like, what is it that you think is, this, that, or the other? And first of all, it's a wonderful process because it's just, talk about a warm embrace. It's just so awesome to hear. And you're like, oh, really? I mean, even how you brought up the whole going to get coffee. It's like you just don't think about that for yourself. It's just like, it's just what I do, and it's like, oh, not everybody makes friends when they go to the coffee, go to get coffee
No, we do not.
or go to the bathroom. I mean, I can't tell you the amount of friends I've made in the bathroom.
I didn't
So
bring that up just because I thought the coffee, but yes, the bathroom takes just as
that's
long. And
probably
it
my
is,
most, like, I don't know.
that's your hit zone. Yeah,
That
yeah.
is my hit zone. I don't know what it
Right,
is,
right. I went to the
but
bathroom. I came back with 3 coaching clients. I'm like, why doesn't that work for me?
it's
Well,
bizarre, but it is what happens. But yeah, taking the time to go through that, I think, is necessary. And to be able to say, what is my superpower? That's just saying, this is my strength, and being clear on what your strength is. And so that way you can just be like, oh, okay. Instead of kind of just wandering, through the world, not knowing.
if if only the doing, if only the doing in life, this what you've done, um, was so easy. What do I mean by that? If I were just able to say, I should be in charge. I went to an Ivy League school. I did not go to an Ivy League school, but if you go to an Ivy League school, right, I'm in charge.
Yeah.
Don't you? I mean, what's the problem here?
Yeah.
And if we get wrapped up in just that, what we've done is who we are,
Yeah.
or what people allow us to do, right? If you're not admitted to a certain prestigious, institution, it's like they denied. And we've had this in my house, right? My daughter said they denied me. I said, whoa, 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 whoa. I'm not going to let
Yeah.
any admissions committee, any third party tribunal declare whether or not you are
Yeah.
good or you are a wonderful person. They can deny your admission and say
Right.
you can't do it,
They
academics
don't define
here.
you. Right.
But oh my goodness, we are not going to get into the fact that, higher education institutions are going to define
Yeah.
where we be, who we are. Okay, admission to do, got it. They make that decision, but
Yeah.
they do not define, admit, or give permission on who you are.
Right.
That's
Yeah.
what we're about.
And neither do corporations, right?
Oh, whoever, this is just the first
Yeah.
day, but this is the conversation that we've been having, is
It
that
continues, right? Yeah.
the more you're satisfied with who you are,
Yeah.
the comparison can float away, and this is where the glimmers of peace and satisfaction begin to settle.
Absolutely. Because you said the phrase, comparison is the thief of joy. And it really is, because as soon as you go into that talk track, it starts taking you out of being present. It starts you on this hustle to be something more because you aren't enough, and it's just dangerous. So, but you have to commit to say, what's most important to me is being here, being present. You know, I'm, I am enough.
Hmm.
That doesn't mean that you're just like, you don't advance forward. You can still have goals and strive, but you always need to be checking. You always need to be checking in to say, is it healthy striving for myself because it's what fills me up? because I'm content. I just, I enjoy, I want to strive for more versus I have to because of whatever.
You and I have talked about sort of the personas or the actual people that we think about when we're doing this podcast, or
Yeah.
as we started this, and I told you that it's like the list of seven. The guy who pinned me, after chasing me through the football field when when I said something mouthy to him in high school, or
Yeah.
the other the
Oh,
other
yeah, yeah, yeah.
the
Yeah.
other actual or proverbial bullies in my life, who I'm
Right.
sure are tuning in, by the way. I'm sure
Uh-huh.
they're
Or not.
significantly interested both in
Uh,
leading themselves, leading others, leading the circumstances. But and you've shared, you're like, oh no, for me, Chris, it's actual real people that I sort of know in the last 5 years that I've been. So mine are sort of more of these mythical characters, the manager at the McDonald's who saw me spill the tomato juice.
yeah.
No, so, but you know, um, it's I don't know where I was going with that. It's just that those people aren't real,
Yes. The
and
tomato
even the
juice
real
through you.
and even the real people probably aren't real, because most of the comparison happens with ourselves, and we have to be checking, are we being authentic to who we are, and where we're fighting the good fight within ourselves in a healthy way,
Yeah. Yeah.
pushing ourselves to ask who we are today, and who who we can be to the people today and for tomorrow.
Yeah.
Others recognize
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
level.
I think to get us through, we keep saying, like, no one's watching us. No one is tuning in. When actually we don't feel that way. We hope that people are tuning in and find this to be a warm embrace, right? But as people tune in, we also know that there is going to be judgment and comparison and whatever, but we have to be in, that's our practice, right? And we're not there yet. We're not like strong completely in this area, but I'm getting stronger. I think we're both getting stronger, that it's like everyone will have their opinions, but I care less about their opinions and care more about being at peace and content and happy and do this that I love to do. I love tuning in and having these conversations with you.
Me
So
too.
it's been such a joy to thank you for helping me talk through the warm embrace. We'll continue to use it. I think I'll be able to say it now in what I felt was kind of a cheesy way. And yeah, thank you for letting me share my thoughts on comparison, and same with you.
Thank you, Amanda. As for our listeners, we look forward to talking to you again soon. Until then, lead well, my friends.
Take care. Bye bye.